Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the episode. We are just now finishing up our 15-week out of our 16 weeks for the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon. And so far, it has been a definite roller coaster as we have been pushing ourselves and trying to do the best we can to take care of ourselves, as well as trying to make sure that we are trying to put ourselves in the best position to obtain this sub 4 marathon. So, and in this episode, I kind of just want to talk about our race setup on how we're going to run things during next week's marathon. So, going through the whole week, as well as our nutrition and even our race plans. This has kind of been something that I've been trying to really focus on and not get so much in my head, but with all of the things that do go on throughout your head, whether you're thinking of pace and nutrition and weather and whatnot, I've been trying to put it all down on paper so that way I can just see everything that I need to and not have it all cluttered up and mustered at once in my head. So yeah, first thing is my leg. My leg so far has been responding pretty well over the last week, and it's really hard whenever you have a bone injury. The best way of resting and care for it is obviously rest. Now, obviously, we are coming down to the final days of our marathon, so that is just something that is just hard to try to manage, and trying to adjust how do you heal a bone while still running, because especially if this injury is based off of impact, it's just something that it almost can't necessarily be done without sitting and resting and icing. And that is something that I have been trying to find that somewhat that middle ground of what I can do versus what I need to do, and also understand what I don't need to do, whether I'm either speeding up paces, or I'm running too long, or I am not having proper form. So trying to figure all those things out, as well as taking some medication, doing scraping, doing icing, trying to do all of those things. It really sucks because in your head, your body wants to just mainly focus on running miles, hitting paces, getting fitter, getting stronger. And then you throw in this loop of trying to heal, trying not to do too much, trying to listen to your body. All of that stuff just adds on to the mental baggage that your body already has to deal with especially when you've been training for 16 weeks. And I know there are some people out there who have probably been training for 18, maybe even 20 weeks. So trying to be able to keep my body healthy, as well as keep that aerobic fitness and that endurance and the strength in there has been something that I've been challenging with almost every marathon training plan that I've done. But we're kind of getting there, and I'm trying to hold on to the ideal of I will be fine during race day, and I really think I will be. I just want to ensure that my body gets there, as well as performs in the best way that it can. So, but yeah, so taking a look at the week that we've had up until now, going into Monday was just a rest day, as all my Mondays are. And I ended up doing a bike ride on that day, just kind of slowly backing off a little bit on the weight training, but trying to understand that, hey, I also didn't run a couple long runs, and I may have lost a little bit of fitness in that. So getting on the bike, just ensuring that I keep my aerobic and my heart rate and everything else up, and just kind of getting that fitness kind of put back into my body, so that way it is ready for race day. So looking into Tuesday, my track workout on the treadmill, mainly because I also knew that I wanted to give it just a little bit more comfort on the impact for my leg. I was a little nervous going into this run as I didn't know how I would respond, but I also knew that I was also coming off of a good 14-mile long run a few days before. So ended up doing a little over 6.2 miles at about an 8:19 minute pace. And so for that, this was going to be a 2-mile warm up and then going into 800 meters at 8-minute pace, and then having a 200-meter recovery at about 9-minute pace. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, I went into a 6-mile run, and I kind of kept this fairly easy. Did one of the loops that I did during my 14-mile run, came back and then did a 2-mile loop to finish it off, and was able to finish this around an 8:56. So felt really good that next day. Made sure that I did some scraping and some massaging that night before, and then also felt really good going into this run as well. Thursday, I ended up doing a treadmill run again, and did about a 5-mile run. You'll see that it says 7:44 up there, but I actually started my watch a little bit later and did the 5 miles on the treadmill. So whenever I finished and I calibrated it and it saved it, it said that I did this at a 7:44, which is not true, but I made sure to at least let it be known, because otherwise people would have been like, I don't think you need to be running that fast like this at all. Which, thank God for Garmin, you're able to calibrate it. Otherwise I would have either had to ran the 5 miles till my watch meets it, or I would have ended up having to stop it sooner and just say I did 3 point something miles. So that night I ended up just doing a yoga session, pretty much about 18 minutes, 17 minutes or something like that, and just kind of worked on a lot of hip opening and just really trying to get those hips loose, because I know that when it comes race day, I'm pretty much going to get destroyed with my hips. And then if my form starts going out of whack, then things start cramping up a lot sooner, and that's just something that I don't want. So going into Friday, it was a rest day from running, but I ended up doing just an upper body workout. And as you can see, it only lasted about 23 minutes, which I ended up doing my 4 sets of bench, a superset, 3 sets of pull-ups for the backs, and then different variation in shoulders, whether it's the front, lateral, or even press on my shoulders. And then went into a little over 5 miles on the bike, just kept it nice, kept it chill. And that was my Friday, because I also knew I needed to take care of myself going into Saturday's final light long run. Saturday, the land runners were doing a 10-mile long run up in the city, and then also we're going to be doing like a pancake breakfast that right after that. And I really wanted to go try to make this, but I also had my kids' soccer games that I coach at around 9 o'clock, and just knew that I probably wasn't going to get back in time. But yeah, it completely downpoured pretty much the 2nd mile into my run.
All right, boys and girls, here we go. This is our last run before next week. 10-mile run today. See how it goes. I'm pretty excited, pretty nervous. I don't know if you can hear me through the wind, but yeah, my leg is feeling okay right now, but at the same time, I don't want to go crazy. I'm gonna kind of just do a 5 and out, 5 and back, I guess you say, 5 out and 5 back, and see how this goes. So right now, we're about almost 6.5 miles in, and raining cats and dogs out here, but I love it. It's soothing. It takes your mind off of so many things. Gotta do what we gotta do, right? This is it. We are done with our run. We're a little drenched up, some drippy, but looks like the best part of the storm is kind of moving out, but I don't know. It may come back later on. Overall, everything went well, so I will catch you guys back at the casa.
And it just felt so smooth. And so yeah, if you just look at the times, you can see that they slowly just start dropping a little bit. And the heart rate honestly was just doing a phenomenal job throughout the whole run. I really felt the effects of having that good aerobic fitness level. And for some reason, rain just always, I think rain does it for almost a lot of people. There wasn't too much wind. Got totally drenched in this one, but I had a blast with this run and finished it really good. So, and then that brings us into today's run, which was just an easy 4 mile on the treadmill. Now getting into our race week plan, something that we need to understand about Oklahoma City is that it is a pretty much, it's a relatively flat, but there is a lot of rolling hills, and a lot of its hills, a lot of the inclines and declines are slightly big, and they usually happen within the first about 8 miles, maybe to about mile 10. A couple big ups and downs, and then coming back up, and then there's a couple bit of rolling spots, and then it kind of flattens out for like the next 5 or 6 miles, and then a couple more drastics, especially when you hit like around mile 20. So Oklahoma is definitely known for its weather is not exactly like completely ideal for running conditions. Oklahoma in this April, late April, going into May kind of starts up this tornado season, thunderstorms and whatnot. And we're still kind of in the spring and entrance of also allergies as well. So that just is something that always adds on to the ailments that you're going to deal with out there in Oklahoma. And right now it's also been pretty windy the last couple of weeks, anywhere in like 20s as far as miles per hour. I think the low is supposed to be like 68 and the high is like 80. So we're a little bit above the average on how that's going to go, but everything should turn out fairly fine. But yeah, going into this week, we have Monday tomorrow, which is going to be a rest day, but I'll probably use that day for like the same thing like I did last week with like a slight upper body, and then go into a bike ride, and then maybe that afternoon get into leg compression. Tuesday, I'm going to try to do this one on the road, but we'll have just a total of 4 miles, and we'll have about 10 200-meter repeats. And so I'll probably try to keep those maybe around 8 minutes, maybe a little bit faster, just to take care of myself as much as I can. And then we'll have about a 100-meter recovery in between. So, and then that afternoon I'll do a lower body, kind of probably more of like a hip mobility, some type of Pilates or something, just to kind of open up my my hips and stretch out the legs, and still be able to get at least a slight workout out of that. And then that afternoon I'll probably do some type of hip yoga. Going into Wednesday is just an easy 5-mile run, and I'll try to take it as easy as I can, maybe keep it in the 9s, maybe a little bit higher. Thursday we'll have a 3-mile run, and that will just be maybe a leg day in the afternoon. So I might just do like a 30-minute bike ride, just nice and easy, just something to move my legs. Friday is a rest day, and like I said, we're trying to start carb loading. Friday I'll probably just do maybe a slight upper body, and then just really try to get some hip openings, and really just try to just enjoy and relax on that day, not doing any running, not doing anything. I'm actually going to have that day off, which is going to be good, because I'm going to go ahead and, for one, not only get my allergy shots, but also head over to sports restore stores that I go to get possibly some dry needling done, and maybe some scraping, and possibly some leg compressions, just to kind of really heal myself up as much as I can, and really take advantage also of my cold plunge. And then we're also going to go to the convention center, and we'll pick up our race packet and try to get everything situated and ready for Sunday. Saturday, I will be doing just a kind of a 3K shakeout run. I might reach out to some of the people that I run with on those weekends, and maybe try to see if I can meet up with those guys. Also want to try to get off my feet as much as possible, but I know that my kids have soccer games on those days, and I coach one of them, and so I pretty much won't be really off my feet until probably around noon. So but that's just the life of a dad. But other than that, there's not much else going on. Try to get a good reasonable sleep, and try to get my race kit and everything set out, as well as talk to my wife, and then try to figure out where she'll want to be. So we'll talk through that stuff, and then we'll go into Sunday hopefully fully prepared. Sunday, with it being race day, hopefully I could try to get there a little bit sooner than I did last time. I do have some friends that I think will probably be there really early. This is a 6:30 gun time, so it's gonna be pretty early, as that is one reason why, like I said, Oklahoma is known for a little bit of a higher humidity, which will be around 84 that day. And if I can try to get in with some of those guys, I can probably get there a little bit super early, which I don't have to worry about my wife having to get up super early. So that's something that I'm going to try to do, and I can get that. I'd rather be at a starting line waiting bored than get there and have to do a gun time like I did last year, where the gun went off and I was just able to get into the bathroom and I had to start way in the back of the corral for the 2 hours and 35-minute half marathoners. Have to fight my way through the next 3 miles, and then that completely crushed me. As far as fueling goes, so going into fueling race day, I am going to get up and kind of have the meal that I have had for the last couple of long runs, which is I have these 2 protein waffles, kind of like Kodiak waffles, with peanut butter and honey and a banana. So with that throws out around 460 milligrams of sodium, 94 grams of carbs, 340 milligrams of potassium. So fueling up pretty well on the food before, about an hour and a half before, is good. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 64 ounces of 2 packets of my liquid IV, and then also a big scoop of Gatorade. And so that's going to give me around 1,100 milligrams of sodium, around 790 milligrams of potassium, about 22 extra grams of carbs. Now, that's not too much. Those are just numbers. Might be around those, but the whole point is that we want to fill ourselves up with carbs as well as sodium. And we're going to be getting a lot of it. And then going into the race, I'll also be sipping on some more of that. That way I get, just all the way up to race day. I'm also going to have a 17-ounce soft flask that will have the 2 packets of liquid IV. And then I'll have my wife pretty much meeting me at certain distances to either refill basically to refill. And then I'll also be, stopping at the aid stations, which I think they will have maybe like noon nutrition. So I'm gonna be taking in my Honey Stinger gels. I'll be doing them every 3 miles, so that's about 8 packs. Going in before the race, a few minutes before the race, I'll have me a Honey Stinger gel, but this one I have a little bit caffeine in it. And then every 3 miles after that, I will have just a regular Honey Stinger gel. And then around mile 10, I might see if I can get myself a banana or something to eat, because I know my stomach is going to be hungry and I have to get ready for these hills, which I'll get into in just a second. And going into mile anywhere from 15 to 18, I know that I'm gonna have to really try to intake a lot before I get to some of those hills as well. Finally, we have the elevation. Like I said, Oklahoma is known to be more of a up and down rolling hill. Now there's only about 750 something feet of elevation change, and I think the high is around 720 something and the lowest is like 750 something. So, and I think it starts out around 1200, maybe 66 from what I've ran from the 20 miles. Yeah, there's a lot of ups and there's a lot of downs. There's a good stretch in there that's flat, but for the most part, it is fairly rolling. What I've basically thought down is from mile 1.5 to 3, there is a pretty sharp incline, and that will actually hit the peak of the highest elevation throughout the whole course itself. And then it kind of comes back downhill from mile 3 to mile 6. So I'll have to really make sure that I kind of just cruise down that and not try to fly down as much, because going uphill, you're exerting a lot. And then if you just start flying downhill, you can really shoot down your quads pretty quickly and put yourself in a hole early on. With mile 8 being, and then there's a little bit of couple of rolling hills from mile 6 to mile 8, nothing crazy. But at the same time, mile 8 is actually the lowest point of the course in itself, sitting at like 22 feet of elevation. So a little bit of rolling incline from mile 9 to mile 12. And then there's just pretty much a straight decline from mile 12, that next mile, to about 13 and a half. So that halfway point, I just need to make sure that I am playing my cards right, doing everything I can to hydrate as best as I can. It does slightly level out from mile 14 to about mile 18 and a half. So it's just kind of like nothing crazy, nothing drastic, but that's where I really need to understand that I need to find my groove right there, find the pace, either tuck in right behind the 4-hour marathoners or just try not to jump the gun too early and just understand that this is going to be a long process. But if I keep doing what I need to do, I can come out on top with a sub 4. And then going into mile 19 to mile 21, there's also a slight decline, which is good, straightening up and then kind of going down. But that decline, the fun is going to not last as long, because then there's a pretty good solid incline, which is we're almost back to the beginning of where the course started. So from 21 to 23 and a half, it's a pretty solid incline, and I have ran that point. And if there is a south wind like it's predicting, then that is going to be a straight B-otch. That's something that I wanted to pay attention to. And then after that, we basically just need to send it those final 2 miles, that 1.5 to 2 miles. Just send it and give everything we have, because at that point, can try to master this. The weather is going to play a difference. The wind is going to play a difference. All the elements, especially how I hydrate, how I feel, I need to try to just do the best I can to go into this run to give myself the best chance and just focus. And I know my leg is going to be okay. I know I'm going to be okay if I can just not overthink it, but just be prepared, especially whenever we get to that mile 20, to understand that I need to be as fueled and be as best as I can, because I'm going to be hurting. As we get into this week, the next time I will see you, hopefully I see you out on the course or maybe back here on YouTube itself. And again, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for the viewers and the people that watch my videos, whether it's for funny or it's watching for this right here and following along. Thank you so much. I hope to see you guys out there. Let's go kick some asphalt. You guys be good. Peace.